The big question for us as we completed our 3 months in Malaysia was how realistic would it be for Malaysia to form part of our retirement plan?
And to answer that, we would need to consider the culture and whether we feel at home there, any additional benefits it would have over similar locations in the world, the practicalities and the cost of living.
And we're going to get into all of that in this video.
So do you think Malaysia could form part of your retirement plan? Let's get straight into it.
With regard to the culture, it's not that we're going to critique the Malaysian culture, it's more the fact, can we actually fit in to the culture?
Yeah, and actually live a fairly normal life the way we want to. Well, there are a few items that go into deciding that for us. The first one is around the language barrier. Are we going to be able to speak normally there and be understood? There's things like money, using ATMs and all the other kind of good stuff. Would we like the Malaysian food? And then lastly, and probably most importantly, are we going to be made to feel welcome in Malaysia?
So let's start with language barrier.
Or lack of it. The one really nice thing about Malaysia is it does have its kind of indigenous languages such as Chinese and Malay, but also included in that mix is English. So we're going to be talking about food shortly, but in the food section, just looking at a menu is easy because a lot of the menus are in English. Did you find any issues with language barrier?
Not at all. Everyone we spoke to, every shop you went into, it was all English was spoken.
We got into some really deep and fun conversations.
And medical.
Yeah, the medical stuff was important, but fun being, I remember a driver one day talking to us about his love of rice. And this conversation went on for about 20 minutes about how much he loved. Basically, rice is his main food stuff.
And his wife knows how to keep him happy. Give him rice.
Just give him rice. I was asking, what do you want on your rice? Nothing. He's just happy with rice. So it was good to be able to have a conversation with someone and have fun and have a laugh with somebody when we're not speaking in his native. It was native Chinese, but his English was good enough that he could speak to us in our unusual, and weird language.
Other countries we go to, obviously we try the language because we are tourists in that country, but here there was no shame at all because everyone spoke English. There was no shame into us not trying their own language.
That's a good point. Normally, anywhere we go in the world, we learn how to say hello, goodbye, thank you, sorry. They're the
yes.
I don't know those.
No.
I don't know any of those. Didn't bother. No. Just do it in English. Everyone's cool with that. So let's get on to the money aspect. Is it a card-based culture or cash-based culture?
Mainly card. Everywhere took the chip and pin, as we're used to using now, so
yeah, I think if you're doing street food, that's going to be cash, but everything else is card. We use 2 cards predominantly from the UK. We didn't get any extra charges, conversion charges there at all. Everything just went through in Malaysian ringgit.
Even the ATMs, no charges.
No charges on the ATMs either. So that was all very easy. And also, when it comes to using cards, the main rideshare app, and also I guess for ordering food if you want food delivered to your apartment, is Grab. Grab is very similar to Uber. Nice thing about Grab is you can load in your credit card details into there, and you've got not fumbling around dealing with cash when you finish your rideshare.
And I actually used the wallet part of that as well, so I preloaded. Can't remember the amount now, but preloaded that, so then I knew I had that amount if I needed to get a Grab on my own, in case there's any problem with your card all of a sudden. So that was perfect as well.
So from a day-to-day finance perspective, no challenges. Actually, we even bought tech, like big tech, new computers and things like that. And I was expecting there to be challenges, but I remember buying brand new laptop, expensive, and I gave him a card. He put it in a machine. Didn't even need my PIN number. Said, "Yep, that's approved." Well, that was very straightforward. So, money, not a problem. So the next one, food. Malaysia, is it known for its food?
It's known for its food. It's very nice food.
Yeah,
very nice food. We have to be a bit careful because we don't eat seafood, and there is a significant amount of shrimp and anchovies and things that we really don't like. So we did have to be a little bit.
The main dish in Malaysia. Even if I've seen people ordering the vegetarian version of it, and it coming with anchovies on top. We don't like anchovies. We don't eat seafood.
Well, they were probably fake anchovies, but they looked like anchovies.
That's good enough for me. So the food is fantastic. But if you like Western food, we like a bit of Western food as well. We're going to be coming on to how much we spent, and we'll be talking about that as well.
Just to say as well, vegetarian, vegan, no problem at all.
Yeah, everything you want is available. But, you know, it all comes down to one thing. Were we made to feel welcome?
We were. At first, I have to say, when I first got there, I felt a little bit uneasy. But that soon, when once I sort of got my bearings and just got used to people. And again, being in a big city, I think when we first arrived, it was during working hours and things, and people were on the lunch break, maybe not as friendly. But then once we eased into the city, everyone's very, very friendly.
But I draw a parallel with you there, and that is people who come to the UK, if their first introduction to UK is London, they go, oh no, people from the UK, not friendly. But if their first introduction to UK was Liverpool, they go, oh, people in the UK are wonderful. Yeah. So we found when we went to Penang, people were absolutely fantastic there.
Yeah.
In
they were in
Kuala Lumpur,
as well,
you just have to open them up a little bit, like any big city, I guess, in that way. But yeah, absolutely, we were made to feel very, very at home, which was a great start.
So how would it compare to similar locations?
So I guess similar locations, we'd be looking at other places in Southeast Asia because, you know, that's what it's surrounded by. So if we use Thailand as a good example of a well-trodden Southeast Asia location and do a quick comparison. So first of all, there's speaking English. In Malaysia, it was so much easier because, as we said, it is a language that is widely spoken in Malaysia, less so in Thailand. So I would say that Malaysia's got the jump over Thailand on that one. Yeah. And then what about cultural similarities? Do we feel anything there?
I think the first one that springs to mind is probably football. Everyone we spoke to seemed to ask what team did we support. That was always the icebreaker. Yeah. So definitely cultural.
Yeah, and I know, you know, any Thai people watching or fans of Thailand will know. I remember we stayed near a mall in Chiang Mai, and in that mall was a Liverpool FC shop, so they love their football as well. But first of all, everybody in Malaysia supports Manchester United, everyone. But they could have a conversation with us. I had a really detailed conversation with a lad about David Beckham, Argentina.
Yeah, they seem to know a lot about the history.
And another guy, he said, so what team do you support? Hoping I'd say Man United. And I said, oh, you wouldn't know. It's a team called Swindon Town. He said, oh, I know Swindon. They were in the Premiership in the 90s. But how do you know it? People in the UK.
They were in there for such a short time. I'm surprised anyone remembers.
Oi, slow down, Sarah.
Taylor. And towards Scott. Michael comes, makes a punch. Chance for Whitbread. Chance for Scott. Chance for Sanchez. Chance for Pietro. It's 2-2. Swindon Town fly high.
So what about comparing Kuala Lumpur to Bangkok?
I think from our experience in Bangkok, we only spent a short time there, but it was bonkers, completely crazy, completely fast-paced.
So Kuala Lumpur was a slower.
Yes, Kuala Lumpur certainly slower, certainly.
And I guess more green spaces. There are big parks and things in Bangkok, but just walking down the avenues in Kuala Lumpur, there's trees everywhere. It just felt a lot more kind of natural. And then safety. And this is Thailand to Malaysia, not Bangkok to Kuala Lumpur.
Well, in both places we felt very safe.
Yeah. So we wouldn't say Malaysia is more safe or less safe. Yeah. Both of them felt super safe to us.
If we start looking at the practicalities for staying in Malaysia long term, where should we start? Airport? That's where we first arrived.
Guess that's where we arrived. So the airport, the first thing I'd say about the airport is it's a little bit far away. It's about an hour in a car from the airport into the centre of Kuala Lumpur. We flew in from Singapore. Also, getting a grab at the airport, pretty damn chaotic. So if somebody said to me, Neil, we're going to give you the keys to Kuala Lumpur for a year, you can make some changes, I'd pick up the airport, shift it about a quarter of an hour from the centre of Kuala Lumpur, not an hour, and then I changed the whole rideshare thing. We had to pick up SIM cards, and that wasn't straightforward to do from the airport. So we actually got those in Kuala Lumpur the following
We tend not
day.
to do it at the airports because generally more expensive.
So healthcare, we're not going to go into detail on
We've
healthcare.
got videos,
Yeah, if you're interested in that.
whole videos on healthcare. haven't we?
Yeah, and we're going to speak about healthcare in the conclusion to this video as well, because that does form part of our decision on what we're going to be doing long term. So Malaysia, Sarah, is it walkable?
Certainly KL was
Kuala
walkable.
Lumpur.
Yeah, big wide pavements down all the roads, and also they had these air bridges which were brilliant when it's so hot and humid.
Yeah.
All air conditioned bridges, and that take you through down to the Petronas Towers, and
Yeah.
just
So
go over the
air
road, so it's really
conditioned,
safe as
away
well.
away from the
Yeah.
traffic, beautiful. But
Yeah.
conversely, we stayed in Penang, out of Georgetown, which is the main tourist centre. If you went off the main roads and you saw a pavement, you were lucky. And that did affect our feeling about Penang a little bit, because it wasn't walkable. It got tiresome, dodging cars and bikes all the time.
The scooters come from absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
So we're leaving out Ipoh actually, and we
walkable.
really thought Ipoh was walkable.
Ipoh was really that's a good point, because I
Yeah.
think we said in the Ipoh video that we watched a YouTuber tear into Ipoh saying not very walkable. And we got there and thought, this is probably the most
much
walkable
better
place
than
we've
Penang.
seen in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
So the last practical element is visas. This is really good, and that is that there are around 60 countries in the world. Highly likely the country you come from is on this list, where you don't even need a visa to get into Malaysia, and that gets you 90 days in the country. You can't, however, extend your stay once you're there. If you get into Malaysia on a 90-day, you've got to leave within that 90 day. But that's nice and easy. No
Brilliant.
visa required. Just
Walk
land
straight in.
and away
Yeah.
you go. So that's the practicalities dealt with. So now the big one, and that is cost of living. We spent 3 months there, or to be exact, 87 days. And we always break out our spending into 6 categories, that being accommodation, groceries, transport, eating and drinking out, entertainment.
Incidentals.
Well done, well done. And incidentals is actually a catch-all for anything that doesn't fall into those other 5 categories falls into incidentals. We're going to do this. We're going to give you 2 numbers basically. One of those is everything that we spent, but then we're going to give you the total again, taking off some of the incidentals. 2 things in particular that skew the cost, but also it doesn't make it as practical for you to use because it's very personal to us. First one is insurance. Our travel insurance costs around I forget what it is. It's about
£191.
that's around,
About 191. I think it was 191.
it varies.
this month,
It varies based
It does
upon
on the currency.
the currency
Yeah.
fluctuation.
It's
But yeah, it's
191 this month.
180, 200, 200 quid. We're going to give you the total cost, but then the cost after that, we're going to remove that. So you can apply your own insurance figure into it. And the second thing is, we turned our travel into Malaysia into a real medical extravaganza.
Not intentionally.
No, but
not
check
very-
our
not
videos if you're
motively.
interested in that. So you're going to see how much it cost us with all of that included. But then we'll take it out, and you can breathe a sigh of relief to see it wasn't quite as expensive if you're not a
Giving the game
hypochondriac like me.
Yeah.
All right. So accommodation, we spent a total of $4,838. We're going to do all of this in US dollars and then convert it up on screen. That equated to around $56 per night.
And that was for a luxury condo in the centre of Kuala Lumpur. Fantastic views of the Petronas Towers and the KL Tower. Absolutely stunning at night. We also had 3 or 4 nights in a hotel in Ipoh, and that included breakfast. And then when we were in Penang, we had an Airbnb 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, so just to be clear, that was 2 months in Kuala Lumpur and a month in Penang. Let us know in the comments, what do you think? Is that expensive?
Well, it was actually over Christmas and New Year in Kuala Lumpur as well. The price did go up during that period.
We know,
Understandably.
we know full well that we chose to go to Malaysia at some of the seasonally most expensive times, that being Christmas, New Year, Chinese New Year. So you've got to reflect that. If you were going to come to Malaysia at a different time of year, then the costs will actually be lower.
Certainly cheaper apartments, but we did, for the view we got, was absolutely worth the money.
Yeah.
So eating and drinking out was $1,802 or equivalent to $21 per night.
Yeah, we tended to eat out at least once a day. You know, if you were going to look at over a whole month, you'd probably say like 1.5 times a day we would eat out.
Certainly in Kuala Lumpur.
And we leaned more towards Western food. The main reason for that was because I wasn't well, and if I wasn't well, I wanted to just go for something that I felt comfortable eating. That isn't to say we didn't get involved in Malaysian food. Oh, we did. That's the amazing thing about Malaysia and the street food. Incredible. So there you go, $21 per night, and that's for both of us. That's not each. Entertainment, that was $151 or just $2 a day. The biggest lion's share of this category was actually the Malaysian Cup final that we went to. You would have seen that in one of our videos from Malaysia. An amazing experience, about 70 or 80,000 people there, and the tickets for that cost us $45 each. The other things were mainly going into museums or giving donations and that kind of stuff. But Sarah, what about the groceries?
And that would be $1,166 or equivalent to $13 a day. So I did do breakfast most days.
You did.
Made it for ourselves.
Yeah, normally that was a Greek yogurt.
Greek yogurt,
with
fruits,
fruit, honey, and nuts and seeds.
Yeah, or eggs. That's generally what we did. And also when we were in Penang, because Lil wasn't well and we just needed a healthy month really, so I did a lot of cooking there, so I got lots of fruit and vegetables.
Next, on to transportation. We spent $322. That's around $4 per day. This included our train travel from Kuala Lumpur to Ipoh, our train travel from Ipoh to Penang, our train travel Penang back to Kuala Lumpur, various grabs that we took, and
which we did use Grab fairly often because it was so hot to walk around.
Yeah, we did, but also for the local metro train system as well. So that's pretty good. $322, so $100 a month. Not bad at all.
Good.
So let's okay, incidentals. Time for that sharp intake of breath, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Oi!
Oh, come on.
Go on.
It's lovely to hear you, but...
Go on. Ignore them. Oh, you're having a laugh.
We spent $4,085, which is equivalent to $47 a day.
But as I say, that includes all of the tests. I had a brain scan, I had heart scans, they scanned everything. And we also had enhanced screening, medical screening for both of us, and that included our insurance. If we remove all that brings it down to $1,382 or $16 a day. So that includes just living really, so clothing stores and bought clothes and just the general stuff that you do, SIM cards for our phones.
Yes.
So our total cost for 87 days in Malaysia was, roll on the drums please.
I said I would never do that again.
Well, you failed
I'm useless.
because you just did it.
Was
$12,365, which is around $4,250 per month. But without all the medical stuff and insurance, it's only $9,661 or $3,330 per month. So the question is, are we going to retire to Malaysia at some point in the future?
Well, not full time because, to be honest, the humidity and the heat at most times of the year was just too much for us to deal with, wasn't it? But knowing we have 3 months, 90 days visa upon arrival is an extremely attractive proposition.
Yeah, so far, Malaysia, of all the places we've visited in the world, this includes our home country, I hasten to add, has got the best medical treatment and the speediest medical treatment. So I think from our future perspective, we will be using Malaysia as our key medical location, and that would be, I guess, probably every couple of years going to Malaysia to do our health assessment, but also if we get any significant ailments, maybe hopping on a flight to Malaysia. You guys, if you live in Malaysia, if you're Malaysian, Hats off to you.
Yeah.
You have got amazing medical treatment. You should be very, very proud of that.
And we truly felt safe and happy in Malaysia. So, again, hats off to the people there. You made us feel very welcome and a happy place for us to be around, which is pretty special.
Yeah, so we've got some bad news for any Malaysians watching. We will be back. So sorry about that. If you've enjoyed this video and if you want to see a bit more about what we did in Malaysia, then why not check our Malaysia playlist, which is linked on screen now. And also, if you want to get more of an insight into our travels, you may be new here and not know that we retired 2 years ago, sold everything. We're nomadic, traveling the world for 10 years. You may be interested to join our Patreon community. We're adding more and more into Patreon, it seems every week at the moment, because those guys are great. If you want details, look in the description below.